In 2005, Resident Evil 4 revolutionized the survival horror genre forever. Its feverish combat, breakneck pace, and grotesque body horror left millions of fans shocked and awed. So much so that to this day, many still revere it as the king of survival horror. Many fans have often asked whether there would ever be any survival horror game better than Resident Evil 4, and the answer to that question might just be Resident Evil 4 Remake. Released on March 24th, 2023 by Capcom, Resident Evil 4 is a remake of the original game and has taken the gaming world by storm. Its edge-of-your-seat combat and faithful recreation of the original game have left even the most hard-boiled fans with a bad case of PTSD. The game continues Capcom's hot streak of incredible Resident Evil remakes. It is, so far, the best reviewed game in 2023, with a perfect 10 out of 10 score from IGN and 5 out of 5 from PC Mag. This remake has also been applauded for being faithful to the original game. However, it does spot some noticeable changes beyond the visuals. Against my doctor's orders, I have bought, played, and completed this amazing game. Without further ado, here's my take on the review on the Resident Evil 4 remake. Okay, kicking things off with the story and narrative. The Resident Evil series is not famous for its storytelling process, and Resident Evil 4 is no different. Just like in the original game, you play as Leon Kennedy, who is now a special US government agent tasked with finding the president's daughter, Ashley Graham. She was kidnapped and held captive in a rural European village by an evil religious cult called the Los Illuminados. The cult also infected the villagers with a mind-controlling parasite known as Las Plagas, turning them into zombies called ganados. It's now up to Leon to fight through a horde of zombies and rescue Ashley. If the story sounds overly simplistic, that's because it is. Even the director of the original game, the legend himself, Shinji Mikami, admitted that the game's story could use a little more polish, and that's exactly what Capcom did. In the remake, we get to see a lot of extra details and backstories fleshed out. Ramon Salazar, Luis Serra, and even Beatriz Mendez get some much-needed character progression. The game also expands on Major Krauser's relationship and training with Leon, giving you some extra layer of context for when the two of you finally cross blades. As expected, the writing and portrayal of characters in the game have also improved immensely. Leon is no longer spouting cringy one-liners like a 10-year-old at the arcade or hitting on Huntington while literally up to the neck in zombies. Luis Serra is no longer talking about Ashley's ballistics, and Ashley is not prancing around a cold and unforgiving village in just a sleeveless sweater and miniskirt. In essence, the game has taken on a darker, more realistic tone than that of its predecessor. However, some fun throwbacks to the past still persist, like Leon's famous bingo line. Ultimately, Capcom did a ton of work picking what to keep and what to leave on the cutting room floor. Why, you ask? Let's be honest. If the original game was released in 2023, it would get canceled in a heartbeat, and Leon would probably have a sexual harassment lawsuit on his hands. Overall, I think they handled the story quite well, choosing to improve rather than tear down. This was a great choice in my opinion.
If I could just forget what happened that night. The pain, even for a second. This time, it can be different.
All right, let's talk about the gameplay. The gameplay for this game is also quite similar to the original, except for some quality of life improvements. For one thing, the pesky NPCs in the original have been vastly minimized, especially the really annoying ones that kill you halfway through cutscenes. Also, now you can move while aiming down the sights. Thank the Lord. It sounds like a really simple change, but take it from a guy who has finished the first game like 5 times, it makes a huge difference. You can also craft ammo and health during your playthrough, just like the Resident Evil Village. The handy dandy attache case still makes a comeback, and it can now be customized to your liking. You can also add some charms to it for passive bonuses like increased speed and so on. Other gameplay mechanics carried over from the original include puzzle solving, buying weapons and upgrades from the merchant, and babysitting Ashley, which by the way is by far the most annoying part of Resident Evil 4. There was nothing as nightmare-inducing as making it through a difficult level only for a Ganado to toss an axe in Ashley's general direction, and you have to start the level all over again. Fear not, however, as the remake has taken away Ashley's health bar and also improved her ability to take your instructions during fights. Other notable additions are the inclusion of side quests and other challenges you can complete to receive an award from the merchant. In essence, Capcom didn't try to fix what wasn't broken, but instead focused on making it better. Despite all the changes, the gameplay feels more tense, immersive, and fluid than ever, which is just what the doctor ordered. Alright, next is combat. Speaking of doctors, Dr. Salvador, aka the Chainsaw Man, and his band of zombified men are back and more dangerous than ever. As opposed to the original game, the Ganados in the remake are faster and more dynamic than their predecessors. Some would even fake an attack and make you react too early, then nail you right between the eyes. Now that's a Ganado that went to zombie university. The enemy AI is not the only thing to be worried about in this remake. The monsters and bosses in the game have also been redesigned to give even the most battle-hardened gamers panic attacks. There are now armored EI Gigantes and Garados. The blind zombies that suspiciously look like Shredder from the Ninja Turtles are also sensitive now. They can hear a pin drop. Even the Regenerator is looking scarier, which is something that I never thought I would say. Some bosses like U3 didn't make the cut, and the QTEs in Krauser's boss fight have all been pretty much removed. Some of the other additions to the game's combat include a stealth mode and knife parrying. Yes, you can now bring a knife to a chainsaw fight, as Leon deflects pretty much any enemy attack using his trusty knife. However, using the knife too many times will cause it to break, and you won't be able to use it again until you take it to the merchant. Overall, the additions to Resident Evil 4's combat have elevated an already thrilling aspect of the original game to nail-biting levels. It's even more satisfying now to watch zombie heads pop from a successful headshot or hear the delicious crack of Leon's shotgun as Ganados are shredded by flying shrapnel. And if all else fails, you can light a cow on fire and watch them mow down your enemies for you. Without a doubt, the combat enhancements are the best part of the remake. Okay, let's talk about the graphics and performance. Get ready to have your mind blown by the graphics of Resident Evil 4 Remake. They're on a whole other level, and that's saying something because even the original game still looks pretty darn good. The remake takes things to a darker, creepier level with visuals that are so detailed and immersive, you'll feel like you're right in the middle of a nightmare. The zombies and monsters are so gruesome, they'll give you the chills and make you question why you're playing this game at all. But I'm here to tell you that embracing the fear is worth it, because this remake is even more terrifying than the original, and I'm all for it. When it comes to the performance, the game is pretty slick. If you're playing on PS5, you can expect a smooth 60 frames per second in performance mode, or 30 frames per second in resolution mode, with only a few minor hiccups during the most intense gameplay moments. I, however, played this game on PC, and literally stunning is an understatement for my experience. So buckle up and get ready to be scared. This game is a true masterpiece. Next is replayability. If you're a fan of this remake, get ready to relive the nightmare with an added twist of excitement. This game has a level of replayability that will keep you on edge of your seat. With the difficulty set to high, it's a challenge even for the bravest gamers out there. But for those who don't shy away from a challenge, this game is perfect. If the challenge itself wasn't enough, the game has special weapons, costumes, and unlockables galore. Who doesn't love a good pinstripe suit for Ashley's suit of armor? And if that's not enough, the DLC has even more to offer, including the coveted mercenary mode. Resident Evil 4 Remake is a game that will keep you entertained for hours on end, so get ready to buckle up and enjoy the ride. Alright, next is the spirit of this game. Remaking the original Resident Evil 4 was always going to be an uphill task, especially considering how incredible the game was, yet it was a challenge that Capcom took in strides. They didn't try to change everything about the game, but rather modernize it in a way that would impress both fans of the old game and newcomers alike. Capcom has done some pretty amazing remakes already, but I think this one takes the cake. I dare say, even Shinji Mikami will be quite impressed to see what they've done with this magnum opus.
Let's go home.
Resident Evil 4 is a thrill ride you won't soon forget. This game is like a combination of horror movie and action-packed adventure with all the blood, guts, and glory you could ever want. The controls are so smooth and intuitive, it's like the game is reading your mind. It's no wonder this game is both a fan favorite and a newbie magnet. If you're looking for a heart-pumping, edge-of-your-seat gaming experience, Resident Evil 4 Remake will definitely not disappoint. 5 stars? Try 5 stars, a high five, and a pat on the back. This one's a banger and should be a major contender for this year's Game of the Year. Do you agree or disagree with my review? Let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to get regular updates on new videos. Thanks again for watching this one, you guys. I had a lot of fun playing this game. We'll catch you in the next one.